My name is Andy Harity. This is my story. The outbreak of World War II happened quite quickly then, and Dad was conscripted into the British Army. Dad was shot up very, very badly. There were complications from Dad's being shot up during the war. He eventually died when I was 8. He passed away, and that was hard. I didn't know him that well because he was gone so much, but still, it was hard. It was hard on Mom, I could tell. And then when I was 13, she had a brain aneurysm and died quite quickly. Little brother and I, Frank and I, were orphans. There was an aunt and uncle who lived in England who had no kids, and they agreed to take us in. On the way home from the funeral to their house, he wagged his finger at me and said, "Now, Andrew, big boys don't cry," looking very serious. And it's burned in my memory that I wasn't welcome. And walking into the house, I remember thinking to myself, I'm on my own here. Well, in school, I did okay, and I took to running and did well. One thing led to another, and then by high school, I was national champion in cross country. The British Olympic Committee had already put me as someone on the roster for the 1968 Olympics. U.S. University started recruiting me to come to the U.S. and run track. But the recruiting efforts of USC in Southern California really impressed me. Then at the end of that summer after high school, I boarded a plane first for New York and then on to California. So midway through freshman year, January, there was a workout day. Coach gave the option. Some of us could go drive in his station wagon out to Malibu, and there was a big sand dune out there called the Dune, I think it is. So, it's January of Olympic year. And on one of the runs up, I knew something had gone wrong with my right leg down into the Achilles area. Sure enough, I'd torn my right Achilles. I'd been fast-tracked by the British Olympic Committee for the Olympics, and now the Olympics were coming up in just 3 or 4 months, and I was obviously out. Not going to happen. They deselected me. Running was the central thing in my life. It was my identity. It's how I thought of myself. It was recognizing and understanding this was potentially a career-ending injury, but definitely an Olympics-ending injury. And so things weren't working well, and after a dual meet in Tucson against the University of Arizona, got back and said to my roommate, you go to church on Sundays, right? Would you take me with you? Because my grades are suffering, I can't make track work, nothing's working in my life, and I'm ready to try church. But within a month, on a Sunday evening, there was an altar call. Anybody who wants to accept Jesus as your personal Savior, come forward. And so I did. Got up, went forward, knelt, and I went, okay, Lord, I don't know what to do with my life. It's yours. I'm going to give you my life. I accept you as my Savior, and you're going to be my Lord. You're going to be my master. The master of my life, because I'm out of options, I'm stuck, I'm on academic probation, I don't know what to do. And so I gave my heart to the Lord. Earlier this year, had lunch with Daniel, he wanted to pick my brain on some things. He asked me to tell him my story, so I did. And after the story, he asked me, would I be willing to tell my story on film as part of the Fearing God series. And I said, no. I don't know what it means to fear God. I don't have a sense of meaning of it, and so I don't feel like I could tell my story authentically as a part of the Fear God series. And then one morning, I'd done my personal devotions, and I was chatting with my wife about fearing God, and she asked me a question. She said, are you trying to define fearing God? And I said, yes. I'm a professor, And one of the things I know is that you can think more clearly about things if you can define them. And so I'm looking for a definition of fearing God. But that got me thinking, I can't define God. So what if I'm not going to be able to define fearing God? And I went with that line of thinking. Okay, what if I can't define this? So what does it mean to me without defining it? Well, it does mean to me depending on God, knowing how powerful He is, recognizing how powerful He is, and then knowing how He loves me and throwing myself on Him, depending on Him. It's not a definition for me. It's the thing that is fear that I can't define for you causes me to just depend on God as much as I possibly can, get myself out of the way and throw myself on Him for whatever it is I'm doing in my life. And that's what fearing God means to me.